Shalom, my name is Yoshua Yaakov. I'm making this video from Jerusalem. It's a comment on the impeachment hearings requested by Congressman Wexler from Florida, from the 19th District. He wants Cheney, he wants hearings to impeach Cheney. I want Cheney impeached. Who is Yoshua Yaakov ben Avraham? I am a Jew that lives in Jerusalem for 22 years. I'm an American citizen. I was Michael O'Donnell before I made Aliyah, a 9-room house in Scotch Plains, New Jersey. I'm a didactic scientist and the author of Humanomics' trilogy, 2,500 pages to be published sometime in the next 18 months on the web with a few hundred graphics. What is Humanomics? It is the new East-West convergence model for the post-collapse of the local reality globally. Its central organizing principle is receiving to give, and the second paradigm is the new economic paradigm, the integration of labor. It is the latter, intellectual property and science and technology, that the Israelis tried to steal. I labeled the attempted theft when I made Aliyah Israegate. And when I came here, they sequestered my lift in Haifa. They promoted me to come. Max Fisher from your district, or previously, was in Palm Beach. Promoted it. The chief scientist promoted it. Bibi Netanyahu promoted it. I came here and I understood that what they were up to was a Pollard scam. I refused to have anything to do with it. They sequestered my lift. They tried to coerce me. I would not be coerced. I've never seen my nine-room house since. They put my company Macrotech out of business, and that's the name of Israegate. I blew the whistle to President Bush, to Dick Cheney, to George Tenet. I wrote hundreds of letters. It was just prior to the re-election. Cheney, I'm not going to go into my sources, but Cheney's office interdicted. They were afraid of another Pollard-like circus in the media, and embarrassment. They covered it up, they blocked it, and they decided that their re-election was more important. And so they called in Tenet. They fired George Tenet. They dispatched Gonzalez to the Department of Justice to obstruct justice, which he did till the day he was removed. And now they have Mukasey in there doing exactly the same thing. Mukasey is a much more sophisticated obfuscationist, obstructionist. His obstruction of justice is much more, he's wrapped in the flag, and he's a higher, he's a more sophisticated individual when it comes to damage control for the Bush White House. Israegate is the bottom line is world-class intellectual property that Warren Buffett believes is worth somewhere between 50 billion and several hundred billion. It's a strategic asset of the greatest significance and importance to America. That science and original science and technology of the new economic paradigm is essential to the post-election of Obama, which will make a new national policy to take the American economy based upon this original science and technology, the new economic paradigm's model, from 14 trillion to 45 to 50 trillion. Israel tried to steal it. I resisted it, and when I wrote and complained this, they covered it up because the priority was re-election, and they didn't want another Pollard affair to damage their re-election. So here is the patriotism. Here is the caliber, the morals, the ethics. This is the standard of patriotism of the GOP. I understand that they're going to challenge Barack Obama's patriotism. Let me tell you a little bit about patriotism. Yoshua Yaakov, formerly Michael O'Donnell, an American citizen, when I saw what they were up to, I stood against them. I stood alone, and I fought it, and I resisted. I lost my entire home. I lost my name, my honor, my reputation. I was dragged through, arrested dozens of times, dragged into a circus trial, convicted by a bunch of communists, put in jail for 86 days, threatened. My family was threatened. I was 3 times attempts on my life. These are extreme communists. And these are supposedly the strategic friends of America. Let me tell you something about patriotism. I stood against them. I stood Aleph to Tav. And why am I still here? If I wanted to go tomorrow, I could go out. There's just one little problem. They control me by virtue of the fact that if I leave, I can never return. And I have children and family here, which I'll never see again. And I also have adult children in America. So I'm in a very difficult situation. I can't leave because if I leave, I can never come back. I have no identity paper as an Israeli. They refused it. And that is to keep me on the back foot so that I cannot work, I cannot have an income, and to control me and to bury me. And the bottom of the line, the bottom line of this whole scenario of Israegate is here is the naked warts. Here is the underlying corruption of the GOP patriotism. An American patriot stands against the theft of strategic U.S. assets alone. And when he calls for help, he's betrayed and abandoned on the battlefield, left wounded and bleeding and for dead. And let me tell you exactly how this works. The moment the whistle was blown and the Cheney White House was recognized that they were covering it up, the Israelis right away moved to the other side of the street, and guess what? They were working for Cheney. And they were, that's our client now. We were trying to steal yesterday, and today we were caught, and he's covering it up. So we're gonna see to it that this guy Ben Avraham doesn't get on the air. Nobody listens. So here's what we have. So now, Representative Wexler, I want you to understand. I know that you're a friend of Israel, but let's be very clear. The people, the specious corruption that's running the country, that is now the collapse of Zionism, that is no more. This is not the Jewish people. They have libeled in the extreme the Jewish people, and they've stolen our name, our honor, our integrity, and our identity. And that's what they have done to me. But they haven't succeeded. I've stood up to them, and they've threatened my life. And I think that we have to now call Mr. Cheney on the carpet, because this kind of ethics and immorality is extreme. It's a total corruption. And Mukasey is nothing more than another Gonzalez. He's another manipulator. He's another obfuscationist and obstructionist. He's overtly obstructing justice and covering up for the White House. I want Cheney impeached, and I'm the smoking gun. There are hundreds of letters that I wrote. So all you got to do is bring in impeachment hearings. And when have you ever heard of Ben Avraham? What did he write? What did he request? The denial of support to the citizen Yoshua Yaakov Ben Avraham, formerly Michael O'Donnell, comes down to one thing. What did you know when, and what did you do about it? And Article 2 of the spins that we're getting from Mukasey has no application. The theft of strategic intellectual property has to do with business, not with national security. And any spins to the contrary is nothing more than just that, spins. So having said that, I want him impeached. And you have now the smoking gun. And in terms of this corruption that is Dick Cheney, it is unprecedented in American history. This is the lowest, miserable human being that ever drew the breath of life. And this man ran the White House for this imbecile George Bush, who empowered him to do things that were extreme, that have violated justice and civil liberties and rights and human rights in the extreme, Aleph to Tav. And not only should he be impeached, he should be prosecuted and he should be put in jail, and a precedent should be set that no American citizen should ever undertake to seek, acquire, and hold public office to undertake the extremes that this absolute gangster and criminal has undertaken, while he's laughing all the way to the bank, having robbed on behalf of his cronies in Halliburton $15.3 billion last year with a $3.5 billion record profits. 4,000 children's blood is on their hands. And this is why the push for going into Iraq, and this clown Bush says, sure, why not? We can make money, let's do it. My name is Yoshua Yaakov. I'm the author of Humanomics Trilogy. and its new economic paradigm that is now essential to America. By the way, I'm entitled to a $500,000 reward after losing tens of millions of dollars standing up to the theft of the Israelis. Support fully. Representative Wexler, thank you for listening. I'm Yeshua Yaakov from Jerusalem, and I wish you the blessing of Kabel B'Shvil